Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a bonus podcast here on a Thursday. I'd like to surprise you and bring out new stuff and introduce you to new people within the grassroots music industry scene. And I've seen these guys off quite a lot. I've been covering quite a lot of this feeling gigs, and I've been seeing the name flying around all there. So we've got Brandon, Iggy, Brad, Ross. Jim is not here today, but we can't have it all. It's shooting galleries. Hey up, boys, you all right?
Hi,
Hello. How we doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Where do we find you today in this idyllic, nice little coloured box? It looks like you're sat in.
So this is a studio called Cargo Rooms, which is situated in kind of Seven Sisters. And this is just off the beaten track, really. It's in like an industrial state, which is very unassuming when you walk up to it, but it's beautiful. We've played here a couple of times to practice here. So we've hired this out today to join you on your lovely podcast.
Oh, thank you. Well, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I like to delve into stories here at Grassroots Music, and let's start with you individually, really, and see where we go. So let's go around the room a little bit. Go around, introduce yourselves, and what part you play in the band for us.
Hello, I'm Brad. I play the bass.
Go on. Okay. All right. This is a crap question. Go on, then. Let's do it anyway.
Yeah, my name's Ross. I play drums.
I'm Brandon, and I'm the singer.
Yeah.
I'm Iggy, and I'm the lead guitarist.
Right. Okay, boys. So you've started in music. So how long has the band been going?
Just over 2 years.
Yeah.
There's been sort of like different formations of it. So initially, Iggy, Brad, and Jimmy, who's not with us today, were part of a band before this. Okay. Then I joined a couple of months after, when they ousted their last singer, ostracized him, and
who did that? You?
Oh no! I just joined.
That was me and Brad can say.
Yeah, that was
can say that we had something that had to be done.
Okay.
To bring this lovely guy in.
Okay. Now I'm intrigued. So what? so what happened then?
We used to be in a band called
The Phantoms.
The Phantoms, but just didn't really work out with the singer for many different reasons. So he had to go. We had to get Brandon in, and he's been a much better replacement.
Oh, thank you, man.
Just one example why it weren't working out, just so it could be a little bit specific, then I'll let you move past.
Do you want to say it?
Just be honest.
Yeah. Let's just go with he cannot sing to save his life. As much, for the main thing that we're looking from a singer, he couldn't do the one thing we really needed him to do.
And that was
so we sort of just didn't get rid of him.
As I joined last, I never got the pleasure or displeasure of meeting this singer. So I've got is these kind of tales of him, and it's everyone just ends up with a massive laugh. So yeah.
Oh no, that's all good. So this is the kind of stuff we like to talk about, the real stuff. It's always good to be honest. People engage with with us as podcasters and you as musicians, I suppose, if you are honest. How do you? One of my pet hates with bands at the minute, particularly on social media, is that they all kind of see a band doing something and then kind of follow it and do the same kind of thing. It's all a bit stale and boring on the social media at the minute. People just seem to be doing the same thing. They announce an announcement. Everybody knows it's going to be a fucking gig or a single coming out. Do you know what I mean? The creativity within social media for bands feels a little bit stale for me. How does it feel for you guys? And I'm not on about you guys specifically. I'm on about in general here as well, just to be clear.
Well, I think we had a conversation about this the other day. I mean, like, social media is a kind of double-edged sword, isn't it? I mean, it's so great in the sense of your sort of netting of audience is so much wider now than it used to be. But on the other side of that, it's so much wider than it used to be, which means that you've got you lose actual musicians and actual music in the mire of just nonsense that you have to put out, because you have to be posting so many posts a day for the algorithm to work. You need to have so much organic reach for the algorithm to work. So there's so many artists that are kind of going under the radar at the moment, simply because they aren't having that reach and aren't having this kind of prescribed social media they're supposed to have. Do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of in your camp. I do agree. It's on one hand it's benefited everyone, but on the other hand it's taken away from the kind of nature of what art is about. Do you know what I mean?
I'm so bored of bands saying you're not going to believe the announcement at 6 o'clock tomorrow, and I'm just like, I bet you I know exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah, huge announcement tomorrow.
It's quite old fashioned in a way, and I'm still seeing it quite a lot, and I'm a bit bored of that. So how do you guys try and like be individual and do your own thing online? What do you guys do?
I really try. I mean, I generally take a little stance where I'll try and post a little snippet of something we do, or really sort of like a key moment as part of our live shows. You know, our live show really is kind of what defines us. It's where we can really engage with the audience. So I'll generally sort of pick a clip that's been filmed by, someone, and kind of really try and show off that way, whether it's someone jumping around or it's a massive breakdown or it's a mad drum part or something. So I'd really try and give that kind of feel of what it's like for us as a live band, because that kind of entices people to come down and watch.
So this algorithm you mentioned, how do you really know that you need to post X amounts a day and do all these things? How do you really know that, or have you heard it from other people saying it?
Well, it's a bit of a sort of.
You can see it being quite evident with who you see most of the time when you go onto social media. It's always the people who show up the most are always the people who post the most and really try to take advantage of just here's a ridiculous amount of content for you to watch. Even if you only see 10% of my content, you've seen who I am.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I suppose it's a thing of like, if you throw enough shit at a wall, some of it will stick, but
Yeah.
your wall's still covered in shit. You know what I mean? And like that's where it kind of boils down to the moment. Like, we're reaching out to labels and we're reaching out to management and things like that. And like some of the questions they ask are, what's your following? Like, how many people you follow? Like, so now it's become about the end result rather than the product itself. It's more about how marketable are you than actually what is the art or music you're making, So this is why I think it's kind of, social media is great in the sense of it connects us all, but at the same time, if you're not producing results, or if you can't, they can't foresee you producing results in the long run, then they won't waste their time with you. So this is why it's a kind of double-edged sword, as I said,
No, it's an interesting one. I was speaking to someone on a podcast the other day, and it was just about algorithms and stuff like that. And I see bands talk about algorithms a lot, and I don't think it's something you really need to be that bothered about if you're not selling thousands of tickets and that kind of stuff quite yet. I think you need to have an established fan base that's coming to see you quite often for an algorithm to even kick in, and that's just a guess. That's just what I think. But I see bands use algorithms as excuses for things as well, and I just don't think the algorithm's that important yet, particularly at the beginning of or the really early stages of a band, getting out there in the world.
You say that we do generally find that depending on what time of the day that we post, we'll actually get more engagement at different periods of the day. So when we use the word algorithm, it's kind of that as well. We're kind of, if you're going to be posting at 1 o'clock in the morning when everyone's asleep, there's a high chance that you're going to be missed. That's the kind of, I think they're the kind of, when we use that word, that's kind of what we're what we're referring to, really. Yeah.
What kind of time of day is like work out better for you guys then when you're doing it?
Well, it's weird. I read an article about this, and it was I think this is the Huffington Post, or it was some fucking obscure American paper, but it was talking about how like Tuesday lunchtime is the perfect time to post anything, because people have they've got over the hump of Monday. Then on Tuesday they're kind of scrolling through because they want that like dopamine hit and engagement, and then also Thursday afternoon's a good one because people are hyped up for the weekend. So like the human brain is fucking mental. So trying to quantify when's the best time. I mean, people much smarter than me are sitting around with chalkboards, working stuff out. But I think usually it's kind of in the afternoon, early evening. So people are finished and clocked out from work. They're on their commute home. They're trying to, fill their commute with some sort of content. And then that's a kind of good time to attack. If anything post 9 o'clock, people are winding down, so they don't really want to do it. Anything in the morning, people are getting ready for their life. So like they miss it then. So it's weird. You've got to try and work out the windows of the human condition. Like, this is what I was saying. So when we say about the algorithm, that's it. That's what we're trying to talk about, I suppose.
But one thing I did see the other day on Facebook, and do you ever use Facebook the scheduler for posts on Facebook?
No, I've just used it on Instagram for scheduling a post for like midnight when our song came out.
I think it's a really new thing on it, and I haven't really played with it yet. It does come up with it suggests a time for the people that follow you. It suggests a time that they're most active on it now.
Oh wow!
See, I need to have a little play with that and see if it's right or not, because it might just be better for Facebook's advertising. Then I don't want to be fooled into their bullshit, if you know what I mean. I want to, like, I'm a bit cynical about that kind of stuff. But for our gym, I tend to put some out at 8 o'clock, either 10:30, 12:30 for dinner times, 2:30 if I've got enough content that day, 4:30 for people that are just finishing work and they're just having a look on the phone, having a scroll, and 6:30 for people when they've had the tea. So that's the kind of times that I put on. I don't tend to put an 8 o'clock sometimes if I've got enough content out that day that we're putting 6, 7 things out. So we're all guessing, really. We don't really know, do we?
Nobody knows. But there's a thing as well Brad was saying about, so obviously you work out whether you need to pay for kind of advertising on using like Facebook or Instagram, stuff like that. And what they do is they hamstring you. So once you're allotted amount of credit and your post has been paid for, whatever, then they reduce the amount of people who organically see you and find you, so that you then buy into paying more and more and more. And this is like a proven thing. So like once you've bought into it, it's like that first initial hit, then your boost goes up and people you
oh right, okay.
And then once that runs out, then they reduce it purposefully, so then you buy into it again. And it's that kind of like, it's almost like a drug dealer, isn't it? Like, you're buying into that sort of cyclical behavior of buying people to see you. So the question then comes down to, do you initially do that and then have that initial spike in reach, or do you not do it and do it organically, but then not have as much reach? So do you know what I mean? There's got to be some sort of like happy medium, I think.
I have tried spending some money on advertising, and it didn't really work. You've got to target a certain amount of people. You've got to do it right if you're going to do it. It's the main thing. Yeah. So you've got to know exactly what keywords to use for the people that are going to find you somehow. So it's not as easy as sticking a tenner on it and thinking, it's going to fly, because it won't, because it depends on the settings that you put behind the targeting on it as well. So it's a minefield out there trying to get your name out there, isn't it, lads?
Oh, 100%.
Interesting though.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, and it works out as well. So we paid for promotion on, we did a little promo video of Swan Song, our latest song. It's just like a 40-second clip, essentially, giving key details and trying to maneuver people to our Instagram, and going through and selecting the countries and the places that you target specifically. I clicked America. That's what I was saying, too broad, because obviously the amount of people in America and the amount of reach already, just clicking America on its own was just too broad. So then we had to go through and be like, well, what countries enjoy, hard rock, alternative rock and whatever, or the Scandinavian countries, then like clicking Denmark. So like this is what it's come down to now. It's like there's a weird science attached to like putting music out. Do you know what I mean? Which realistically would probably put a lot of artists off,
No, I get it. Well, who really knows with social media? We all just have a go at it, don't we? And have a play about it, I suppose. And let's just share experience. If people are watching this, and comment in the description below, and let us know what your tips are, and we'll just help each other out and work it all out. I think people watching this would be a good thing.
Yeah, we work it out until AI takes over.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen. Isn't it?
How do you feel about AI coming your way?
Well, I watched something the other day about do you see like AI Cartman from South Park singing songs, because obviously they just put into an AI generator.
Yeah, they've done that with loads of characters singing, but they've even just replaced the whole artist with completely different new artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Metallica with Chester Bennington from Linkin Park, and I heard like Metallica, like James Hetfield from Ride the Lightning on sort of like Hardwired Self-Destruct album. So it's like, his voice has just been generated. It's just insane to listen to. It almost takes the musicianship away from sort of, what's human about music, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, totally.
It's definitely something to so I've started to use AI for quite a lot of things for RGM, like making reels and stuff on YouTube videos. Like, that's just like in seconds you can create them. And that saves me loads of time. So those type of things, I just think is great. but actually like doing human things like writing stuff, or I'm not getting anywhere near that kind of stuff because I just don't think it's right.
Well, I mean, like technology is always. Do you know about the curve? They talk about the technology curve.
Go on.
So basically, since there's a graph plotted where from the dawn of like civilization, some like Iron Age, Stone Age, or whatever, and time is on the vertical, technology is on the horizontal. It did this. So like, Stone Age, Iron Age, Bronze Age, Industrial Revolution, it spikes again and whatever. But now we're at the point in humanity where it's parallel. Like the time goes on and like technology being produced is like just in line essentially with what's happening, because every day there's something more amazing, fantastical being produced. But then that indicates that one day the curve is going to bend back the other way. Do you know what I mean? Like all it would take is a solar flare, for example, and the world is fucked. Like, I mean, the banks are down, like music's down, AI's down, everything that we now base our life on. It means we go back that way. So
well, that's AI forward to, isn't it?
Yeah. Why not? I've got nothing on Thursday, so may as well chuck it in
there.
But
might as well have a big flare up and kick into that.
I'd be interested to know about, if we're ever at band practice trying to write a song or something, maybe if sometimes we have a bit of creative sort of where it doesn't work out so well. I wonder if we could ever use AI for that, AI suggest us a guitar riff or, something like that. I don't even know if that would work.
I've seen people write songs like that. They
really?
Yeah. I mean, you can get an AI to write a whole new song for you.
Yeah.
My gosh, AI, do my podcast for me.
Yeah. Let's go for a pint and we'll just leave computers rolling.
Yeah.
So let's rewind a little bit then. So talk us through your journey into music then, boys. So before the band started and previous bands and that kind of stuff, just go around the room a little bit and talk about how you got into music yourselves personally.
Yeah, I can go first. I think I actually got into music quite late. I've always been into sport for most of my life. I'd say around when I was finishing my GCSEs, that's like 16 years old. I was just at my mate's house. He's been playing guitar all his life.
Yeah.
And I just picked it up and I just went, go on then, teach me something really simple. And he just taught me to play Seven Nation Army, which is one of the most simple things, but two biggest things that you can play. Yeah. So I just did that and I was like, do you know what? It's actually quite fun. So I asked my dad to get me a guitar. I got this really crappy guitar, this really crappy amp. And I just started going on YouTube, learning songs, reading tabs and whatever. Never really taken any lessons, sort of just seeing what I can find online for free and whatever. And then since then, it's been like this little obsession that's just taken over my life and ended up with me just going, well, I can just do this for the rest of my life and I'll be happy.
Oh, nice one. Anybody else?
Let's work our way through this way. Probably make it easier. So I'm an actor as well. I'm an actor and a musician. So like since a kid, I've been in sort of like musicals or theatre and what have you. So music and acting and performance has kind of been like synonymous with me since I was really, really young. But music for me has always kind of screamed out more. I think the example I used to give when I went to drama school, and when people would ask me, what would you prefer to be, an actor or a musician? I'd always say, like, a musician, I want to be in a band, I want to do this. And that's because an actor can have a fantastic performance, but 9 times out of 10, they're using somebody else's language. Somebody else has written the script for them. That's their vessel for somebody else's work. Whereas I think in the band, especially because I'm the lyricist as well, I mean, to be on stage and to be sort of harnessing what you've written and that emotion and those thoughts and using that on stage with 4 of your brothers, 5 of your brothers, then there's no better feeling in the world than that, because that's you. Do you know what I mean? So my journey into music is that I've always been very, very musical. Initially, I loved rap. I love poetry. I love rap. We actually went to a gig last night. We both went band. Shout out to B Dolan. If anyone listening to the podcast, go and check out B Dolan. He's fucking incredible. And I think it's the use of the language and the poetry kind of drove me to want to be a lead singer and a vocalist. Yeah. What about you?
So were you
Yeah,
in nightmare banging pots and pans then, Ross? Or what? Is that how it started?
well, yeah, I can get on to that. So yeah, my dad was a drummer, so I picked up the drums because of him. Really, he used to, he was into his 80s hair metal, his Motley Crue, his Kiss, his Guns N' Roses, and we used to drive around when I was younger. And I just started tapping on my legs, like you say, like just doing the beats. And then I started getting lessons when I was about 12 for about 5 or 6 years. And then, yes, I joined a band, like a punk band when I was 17, with them for about 2 years. And then I joined like a metal band after that. And then sort of took 4 years away traveling and come back to England I met these guys a couple of years ago. So, yeah, growing up, I had a drum kit in my room, which was, my neighbours hated me for that. And my mum was, shout out to my mum for sort of, being there while I was practicing and getting my grooves on and stuff. And yeah, just falling. I've sort of fell out of love with drums, and then I've fallen back in love with it now. So it's kind of something I'm really good at, and it's something I really enjoy doing. And yeah, it's been great to get back involved with drums.
What made
just be a part of a band again.
What made you fall out of love with them?
So during my mid-20s, I wanted to travel. My desire to travel the world.
Right, yeah.
So that was higher than my desire to play music at that time. I spent like 2 years in Australia, and I went all through India and Southeast Asia.
Nice.
You can't really bring a drum kit with you in a backpack.
No.
So yeah, maybe I could have picked up the ukulele or something, but no, that was kind of why that didn't happen. So coming back home and getting back into it is something that I kind of was looking to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, have done.
Yeah, fair enough, man. And
so I've always been into music. I don't remember a point where it hasn't been a thing that I wanted to do. So studied that all through, growing up, go to school, go to college, go to uni, study sound engineering and all that. Ended up being the sound guy, the guy on the desk at the back of the gigs for small venues in Birmingham.
Oh, nice.
Realized very quickly that's you get a lot of people shouting and screaming at you, I want more gain, I want more distortion. And you're like, I can't do it. You're at your max.
Yeah.
So one day I was doing a gig one night and I thought, fuck this, I want to be on the stage. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So as soon as I finished studying, packed up my shit, moved to London and joined what was the start of the Phantoms. Yeah.
So it's always the singer in it. They always want more in the monitors, don't they? Every time.
Always.
No matter
you
what.
Can't give it. You tell them so they can listen.
Perfect, but they still want more, don't they?
Always.
I'm quite reserved. I'm quite happy to have whatever gets given to me, to be honest.
I weren't on about. I'm just talking in general.
Yeah. Well, me too.
So, what is the music scene like in London at the minute? And I presume London has different pockets of communities, with it being so big, and all the different boroughs and all the different areas where you can find loud music. Talk us through, because I've only been on London just doing silly things like getting drunk and just having a good time down there. I've never lived there. What's it like living there, and what's the community like for bands at the minute in London?
I think it varies. Depends. I mean, like, you can tell if you picked a borough. So if, say, Camden, for example, Camden's very kind of like hard rock, classic rock, kind of alternative rock. Where that's that borough. But then if you pick somewhere like Shoreditch and sort of like East London, then there's kind of lots of shoegazy indie stuff. So I think it genuinely depends on where you play. And obviously we're at the point now, sort of careers where we're put onto bills with people. Sometimes it doesn't even match up. Like we're doing a gig for This Feeling on the 16th in Water Rats, and we've played with This Feeling before, and I think we're kind of their wild card, because lots of the people that we play with are kind of that Jerry Cinnamon, early Stone Roses, kind of that football lads music, like Oasis, but like that ilk. And then we come on and then we do some sort of like alternative rock, hardcore bits and bobs. So the lineup is just blown apart because we don't really fit in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
So it really does depend on where you play, I think. Am I right? It does.
Yeah. Do you find that in general, it's just as a band of your genre, do you find it harder to get gigs where the lineups are similar? Because I know what it's like from a promoter point of view. You know, it's very difficult to get 4 different bands on a lineup to fit perfectly, and to keep everybody happy. It's not possible from that side as well, is it?
Well, yeah, this is why it's kind of difficult. Our producer Chris Hope, we've been up back and forth to Chorley where he lives, and that's where we recorded Swan Song, which had just come out, and we went back and forth recording some more stuff. And Chris basically summed it up by saying, "There's nobody like you around at the moment, which is great. But the downside is there's nobody like you. So like, how do you fit on a bill with people that there's nobody like you?" To me, because our music tastes as individuals is so broad, and that's why it's kind of Shooting Galleries itself is kind of a smelting pot of music taste and genre. So it's our boon, but also at the same time it's our downfall. You know.
When you mentioned London, like the music scene, like just in my experience, like, you know, I was playing in bands sort of 13, 14 years ago, and a lot of the venues that were around then are completely shut down now. And even driving here today from, you know, I live in East London, I was driving around up to North London to get here. And there's a venue that I play called the Standard in Walthamstow, and it's just completely been balls. You know, it's been knocked over. I literally drove past here today outside Black Horse Road Station. So it's actually, I'd probably say as a musician, it's probably never been more challenging, like to find places or at least find new places to play, because everything's just closing up, which is a shame. It's a real shame, and I'm actually sure it's like that all over the country. Actually, I don't think that's just London.
I've been in bands for years, and I always see bands get excited about a gig in the big smoke because I think it's going to be full of music industry and that kind of stuff as well. When it never really turns out that way either. There don't seem to be as many soldiers out there from the big boys searching at the minute as well. They'll probably sat at home trying to find a band that's got a good algorithm or something like that, and not go out and see people live as well. So do you find like industry people out at London gigs and stuff? How do you see that?
Well, so quite recently we've been in touch with. I've got a friend called Taylor Davis. He's a music lawyer and he works for Sheridan's. He's a Swansea boy like me, so I've known him going way back. And he obviously does the sort of PR side of things and A&R. And we've had discussions about where's the best place to be seen, when's the best time to be seen, all these conversations, you know. And he said that basically like A&R work Monday to Thursday. Their whole job, Monday to Thursday evenings, is going to gigs and seeing gigs. So if you're playing a gig on a Friday and Saturday night, arguably the best nights of the week to go to a gig or to have a gig, because everyone can get, you know, pissed up and have a good laugh, right? A&R aren't going to be there because their job is Monday to Thursday. And the last thing they want to do on a Friday and Saturday night is go and do quote unquote work. Do you know what I mean? So he was like, Friday and Saturday night, I just spend in with my family. Like, that's what I want to do because I'm at gigs 4 nights a week. So it's hard because if you have a gig on a random Tuesday night, you can guarantee that it's not going to be packed out. It's not going to be that kind of chaotic vibe that you want from the crowd. But if you have that on a Friday or Saturday night where you have that chaotic thing from a crowd, A&R aren't going to be there. Like, how do you marry these two up?
Is that general across the board then? Is that just, or is that an observation of the industry, or is that like based on a few people they know, or just trying to think how widespread that could be?
Well, in this meeting, he was basically saying that's kind of what it is across the board, unless there's somebody that they really want, they're interested in anyway. And that taps back into what's their reach, how many followers they've got, like are they marketable? Because then they'll on their off night, quote unquote, then they'll go and check out the people because they think, oh, maybe I can break the next Idols or break the next, you know, Yard Act, or do you know what I mean? Like maybe I can be that person to find them. But until you're at that point, they're not going to come and bother. Do you know what I mean? So like that's quite disheartening to hear as well, because as musicians, we all obviously fight for like the Friday and Saturday night because that's when everyone enjoys themselves and let loose. But then there's he suggested, you know, booking out a venue where who was the band that he gave the example of? Was it
Was it the Foals?
No, it wasn't. Like he represents Foals. There's a band anyway that I can't remember that their manager really kind of cracked it because he knew that their followers, they could sell out a venue of 400 people, say. So what he did was he booked a venue that's 200 capacity max. So then he sold out 2 nights. Then because of the fear of missing out, people go, oh, fuck, the 2 nights are sold out. Oh, add an extra night, by popular demand. People want to be a part of it. So he knew that he could sell 400 tickets, but because he booked a smaller venue, packed it out, then they end up selling like over 1,000 tickets because this idea of people buying into it. So then this taps back into what we were saying about like algorithm. And I'm not just talking about kind of technology either, like the algorithm of humanity, this idea of like fear of missing out. People buy tickets and buy into things because we all want this kind of exclusive experience. Do you know what I mean? So to think that the industry's run like that, it is a bit disheartening, I think. Because it's so clinical.
Yeah. That's it. It's a good way to do it. If you pick like even on a smaller level, if you've got 200 fans, and you could do it on an 80 venue, can't you? And just give it
exactly.
See how it goes, I like that idea. But the just going back to the gig at Water Rats on 16th of September, with this feeling, Dirty Blonde, I've seen them around a lot. They're not they're a decent. They're quite rocky, aren't they? They're quite They'll fit the mold. Are you main support to Dirty Blonde on that gig?
Well, again, it goes back to it's
sales and stuff.
But it goes back to kind of like ticket sales, and depending on how many you sell, then that's where you sort of rank on the bill is. We have no idea where we are at the moment. Ticket sales are going quite well. We recently played Slim Jims, and that was sold out. And then the video Swan Song, the music video, which came out, we filmed that at Camden Assembly, and that was a sold out gig. So we do quite well for ourselves. I mean, our EP launch was at the Dublin Castle, and we wanted it there because obviously like how sort of prestigious in folklore it is, and that's max capacity 200, and we sold that out. There's people actually been turned away at the door when we released our EP last year.
They definitely oversold that one.
They did oversell it, but I mean, like, we're so grateful and we're so humbled by the fact that so many people want to come and see us, because we haven't got management, we haven't got a label behind us, and this is all off our own back. So to have that is amazing. So I think Water Rats tickets are doing well.
Yeah, doing well. Yeah.
But we won't know where we are in the lineup until probably a couple of days before, unfortunately.
Well, if you're from London and you fancy a night out, I'll put a link in the description of this podcast for people to.
Oh, bless you, man. Thank you.
That's what it's all about. It's what it's all about, isn't it? So yeah, the new tune Swan Song then. So we had the pleasure of featuring it on RGM. And just reading through a few of the notes on there, it says it's brash and aggressive. There you go. It's what it really stands out. It's bullish and it stands out, that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of vibe that the reviewer got from your tunes. So you talk us through the song itself and what it means to you.
Cool. Well, that song actually started in this room where we are right now, right?
Yeah,
it started in the cargo rooms. I remember, just my one memory of that song is listening to Iggy come and said, I've got this riff, and it's the powerful riff in the second half of the song, and I said, that is going to be something. I just remember that was a real moment, and I was like, wow, we need that, and it ended up being in Swan Song.
Nice.
I don't know if you want to talk about that or the writing process.
Yeah, I mean, writing wise, it really started with Jimmy coming in with the slow one, and the slow start,
riff.
And we knew we wanted it to be like I would say a fairly lengthy slow song for the beginning, and it to lead into something that's just so explosive and so powerful, and so like at the end of it, it's just a full stop, and it's just all of a sudden everything just explodes. So I think we achieved that really, really well with the riff that I came in, and with everything else that goes on behind it, especially with Chris. When we went to record, he managed to capture it in such a live way, which it isn't overproduced, but it still sounds like it's made for your headphones, for you to sort of experience this thing whilst you're not just listening to music. You're sort of like hearing some sort of emotion go off in whether it's in Brandon singing or like the guitar part or whatever's happening on the drums.
The drums, especially in the verses, when you really go, they call it like a 16th note, where you're really going hammer for tongue on the hi-hats. It was really just to try and push the song forward. I think we really achieved that well. What do you reckon, Brady? So
think this Swan Song was probably the first song we recorded that accurately captures what we sound like. Our live sort of authentic sound. Yeah.
You kind of found your voice with it, really. Kind of found your voice as a band with this.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've released stuff before, and I think Chris, as Iggy just mentioned, you know, he really hits it home that our sound is a live band. People kind of come to our gigs and enjoy the spectacle, as it were. You feel part of something, you know, and trying to distill that and trying to put that onto a track, a record, whatever you want to call it, is really hard, because you don't want to sacrifice that kind of performance element of it, or the sound of the on the take. But at the same time, you don't want to just have some sort of like clean cut take and lose that. Do you know what I mean? They kind of go hand in hand. And I think Swan Song, for me personally, is probably the most mature and poignant song that we've kind of, released to date. Whether it be the sort of musicality of it, the lyrics, I think it's almost like a mini rock opera in one song. You know, and I think that's kind of, it's a journey, and I'm incredibly proud of it, and I'm incredibly proud of the work the lads have put in. You know.
Yeah, it's a class song, and I believe Ross, you've got some exclusive news for us as well today, mate.
Yeah. I think, I guess this would be a podcast exclusive, but I regret to announce that I'll have to be leaving Shooting Galleries soon. I'm moving overseas, and I've probably got 2 or 3 more gigs left. We've got the one at the Water Rats coming up, and we'll be announcing another one straight after that. And perhaps if I'm lucky, I'll get to play one more time with the boys in December. But yeah, this will be to anyone listening. I'm sorry. It's but it's a new chapter in my life, and I wish these boys all the best in finding another drummer after I go. You know, it's been a massive part of my life, and I'm so thankful to have had the experience to play in the band. Really.
Yeah, well, we wish you all the best, everybody from RGM, on your travels. I believe you're going traveling again.
Yeah. That's right, yeah. So, South America for 6 months, and then, we'll see what happens after that.
Not jealous at all.
And I won't be bringing my drum kit, so
it
won't be able to fit in my backpack, I'm afraid.
Oh, mate, well, we wish you all the best with your travels, mate. And how do you like? Is it too soon to talk about who you're going to be replacing with? Is that a cheeky question?
Well, no, I mean, so this is the thing. We've actually, as Shooting Galleries, we've had Ross,
4 drummers.
Yeah, we've had 4 drummers to date. For different reasons they've left. You know, one had a few musical projects on. One's a session musician. One's a fucking psychopath. I'm not, for legal reasons, I actually can't say his name. But I mean, just know that he's a twat. And now we've had Ross, which is, to top it all off, you know, like Ross has got, and I'm going to get a big gush here. Ross performs, which is brilliant. Like he's like a Labrador in human skin. Do you know what I mean? He's got that like element of quality where people love him. People love him. Like he's got this such like warmth to him, and his performance is just phenomenal. So it's a massive kind of loss to Shooting Galleries. But obviously we wish him all the best. But in that vein about how we're going to replace him, maybe someone listening to this would like to jump in, you know, because otherwise it's just us trawling through joinmyband.com and trying to find drummers to fit.
If you're a drummer in London and you feel you fancy an audition, how would they contact you?
Instagram.
Just
probably
direct message.
Yeah, probably Instagram is probably, just drop us a direct, you know, DM us, because we all run the pages, so we're constantly aware of what's coming in and out, you know. But yeah, please, if you are out in London and you are a drummer and you want to be a part of a band that's established and move, you know, we've got some good contacts and hopefully moving on to some bigger things quite soon, which we can't really talk about. Please get in touch, because it'll save us a lot of trawling through nonsense.
Oh, well, lads, I've really enjoyed getting to know you. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the Shooting Galleries people, or or even people that just might be new to you? Is there anything you'd like to share with them before we let you get on with your day today?
Just come and check us out at the water at September 16th. The link is, and the ticket link is in the description. I promise you won't regret it. We'll fucking blow your socks off, and I swear to God, I'll make sure that a drumstick gets thrown that's in the audience that someone can catch and take home as a little leaving present.
There we go. Oh, thanks, Brandon, Iggy, Brad, Ross, and Jimmy, wherever you are out there in the world. Really enjoyed it. It's at a minute looked like he's passed away or something. No, I'm just looking at it. I wish you all the best for the future. We're going to be sharing it all over our gem, and the future of the band looks rosy. Good luck at the gig. If you're after a ticket, there's a description in the podcast. And yeah, nice one, boys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks again for joining.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Take care.